Hello everybody, my name is Mike Amato, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm doing right now what I just love to do, which is to talk to people about success. You know, I've been in business for over 35 years, from executive to board member, and the favorite thing in business is not just delivering on a plan and driving the right financial results, but it's actually helping people transform, whether it's transforming the business or transform their lives and their careers, and become their best and most powerful self. I just love doing it. So I thought, let's start a series of videos where I can talk to you about some ideas for you to transform your life. You know, one of the key things that I think about is right now there's a lot of conversation about coaches and mentors and different philosophies on how to get happiness and attain happiness, and yet I'm just not sure that's really happening. There's still a lot of people kind of struggling, saying, you know, how can I have a much more successful life? How can I improve my well-being? So I want to talk about that, and over the course of time we'll get to know each other. We can talk about the things that kind of go into the thought processes that I think will hold you back, and things that can accelerate your progress. You know, backing up a little bit, thinking about if aliens came to the Earth for the first time. Of course they'd sign up for Facebook on day one. They'd look at their Facebook account and they'd say, oh my gosh, these are the happiest people in the world. Look at them. They go to fun places. They're smiling and laughing all the time. They always take holidays. They're always by the ocean. I love their little feet pictures. And they also are sharing the wisdom of the universe for all the ages, very openly and willingly with each other. And apparently everybody can run for president in this new world. So it's a phenomenal thing. They would look and say, gosh, we found nirvana. We found our very favorite planet ever. And yet when you peel that away and you go in, actually not very deep behind that, I actually see a lot of people are almost struggling to say, hey, how can I find meaning in my life? And how can I be again, much more successful and have my dreams and visions of my life come true and unfold the way I want? And so thinking about those things, there's a lot of drivers behind that. But one of the key things I always think about is, you know, why should you listen to me? Man, ultimately that's going to be up to you. And if I do this right, we'll create a great connection. But look, why should you listen to me? Hey, I've been in business for over 35 years, as I mentioned. Just to let you know a little bit more details about the background. My first job, I started answering the phone at a bank. And it was about $7 an hour, just so you know. Temporary job, I was only supposed to be there for about 3 months. And as it turned out, I was the right guy at the right company at the right time, because that organization grew and I grew with it. And 24 years later, I was a division president overseeing the national distribution for this banking organization. In the process, I learned a lot of things, certainly a lot of things how not to do, made a lot of mistakes, but also I learned a lot of things about what to do and how to succeed and how to grow with an organization. Now, personal growth is very much the same. In fact, from there I went to London, where I became the equivalent position in a global banking organization. And instead of a growth story, there was a transformation story. What we had to do was wake up that brand. It's a very powerful brand, but get tarnished a little bit. And how do we change that and wake up that brand? And what we did was a cultural transformation. So my philosophy is that if you don't change the culture, a lot of things that you're doing are only going to be just temporary or stopgap, or certainly not really well thought out strategies. They're going to be disconnected tactics. So we've got to change the culture. And in my mind, a lot of people have philosophies that may be different from this, but in my mind, it's the right way to go, is change the mindset of the people that work there. So we had 30,000 colleagues that I knew that if we could engage them more deeply into the business, and if we could get them attached to and buy into a higher purpose, why we existed, I knew that we would be much more successful in all the important metrics of a business. And as we launched this program, 18 months, we moved the engagement scores, the way we would measure the discretionary energy that people bring to work every day. The engagement scores went from probably the worst I'd ever seen to 6 points above a global high-performing organization. So it was amazing, and I'm really grateful for the people that work for me. Love them because they really bought into the message. And as we think about that, and why I'm talking to you, is that in many ways, your personal transformation, call it seeking success or call it realizing your vision, but it's a transformation. It'll require transformation, is in many ways mirrors that of a large organization. Again, the more we get to know each other, the more I can make those points for you. But think about the next stage of conversation when you think about this and say, okay, so what are the next steps? Well, we are right now in a world where we think of really quick hits. The 3 most successful, people in the world, or the 5 most important things to do to have this realize your dreams, or always a small number somehow between 3 and 7 is the right way to do things. And in many ways, it's really not helping. That type of mentality doesn't help at all, because you end up taking a very abbreviated and truncated approach to understanding who you are, why you're here, and what you can do about changing your reality. And it's not 3 or 5 steps. It's not 3 or 5 simple things. It's actually a lot of things, but they can also be explained very, very simply. In other words, there's not a shortage of people telling you what to do. I think there's a shortage of people telling you how to do it. Now let's use cooking as an example. Recipes. If you did nothing but read recipes all day, you could starve to death. But if you took the ingredients that the chef put together in a beautiful dish and wrote down for you, took all the time to say, if you put these and combine these ingredients together and you actually cook them, and then you actually eat that meal, you're going to get the full experience, the full intention that the chef so lovingly shared with you in terms of this recipe. So I don't want to extend this analogy too far, but the point is that right now, going back to Facebook, we're reading the recipes over and over again and wondering why nothing's changing. So that gets to decision making, okay? Transformation is a decision. It's a decision to go from here to there. And what's implied? It's change. We talk about change, and there's all sorts of the 7 ways to change and all that. But the first part of changing is deciding to change. If I want something to be different in my life, I need to change. I need to decide to do that. The next thing I think you need to think about is, what process do we use to make decisions? So once we decide to change, I think there's a certain number of steps that we can take that actually mirror corporate transformation, organizational transformation. They actually mirror that, and they help you drive to a vision that you've created for yourself, and you can bring it to life. One of the interesting in a recent meeting about that global transformation that we did, somebody said that we really captured the energy of the organization, and in my mind, it was there all the time. It was a fuse waiting to be lighted, but that fuse was right there. And what we did, all we did was we lit that fuse and gave people an attachment to a sense of higher purpose, as I mentioned. Your personal transformation is nothing different than that, really. So what is a process for transforming your life? What is a process for making decisions? And when you think about the next layer, a lot of it's empowerment. So thinking about empowerment is a crucial part of it. When you think about the objective of any coach or counselor, therapist, anything, it's really to empower yourself to help yourself. Look, a lot of people can read The Secret and they can say, gosh, I'm visualizing my future. But they sit on the sofa and wait for the world to change. I just don't think it's going to happen. So in order to empower yourself, you have to understand where you are. Sometimes people look at their life as there's no alternatives. And somebody will say to you, I'm just not able to do anything different because there's no other choice. And boy, that's miles away from empowerment, right? That's the opposite of empowerment. So empowerment begins by saying there are choices. And sometimes the choices are seemingly not realistic. And in fact, the wilder the better. Create a wide funnel for making that decision at the beginning of the process. Generate a lot of ideas about what you want to do in terms of possibilities. Now, you can reject those ideas. And by the way, you can decide that you want to make no changes. But at least now you've made a decision. You've empowered yourself to make that decision. So it's a crucial part of decision making. Now listen, have I done this in my life? Yes, I have. There's been times in my career where I thought my current relationship at work with my boss or whatever was not going to work out. Maybe I wasn't satisfied with a policy change, or I perceived some sort of an issue with continuing to work there. And almost every time the process I'd go through was to refresh my CV, and I would send it out to some people saying, hi, I'm looking for a job. And just the act of doing that empowered me and made me feel more in control of my life. Now, as it turns out, I never took those jobs. I never pursued those opportunities because I decided to do the same thing, but I did it on purpose, as opposed to feeling I was sucked into it with no other choice. So you can see where empowerment is a big part of your transformation. So as I said at work, in the workplace, everybody comes to work and they want to do a good job. They're a fuse ready to be lit. I really believe that with you. You've got a fuse. You are who you are. We need to understand more about that, and we'll talk more about that as we get to know each other better, but we just need to light that fuse. And once you have that higher purpose, and once you understand how to make the very best decisions, once you create a wide funnel and you begin to think about what are all the options and choices that you have in your life, you're now going to feel a lot different about where you're going. And the destination that you've dreamed or visualized, that you've put on your vision board, is going to be ever more close than it has been before. So that's what I want to do over the course of time with all of you. Again, I look forward to getting to know you better. Look at my contact details below. Let me know if you have questions, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody.